stay intimate. And, you know, if you were to look up the word intimate, intimacy means staying close, staying private, and remaining personal. And so
Staying close, staying private,
and being personal.
Okay.
So staying close is, let's just, again, practical, by not letting kids or work or your personal goals and aims or even ministry to sometimes get in the way, where those things are more closer to you than your spouses. That's very dangerous. Even your outside family members, where you're cleaving and clinging to your spouse, not to your goals and ambitions and ministry and children. And all of those things really need your attention. And I'm not saying where you neglect them, but you're really aiming to make your spouse a priority and to remain close. Before I go to the next one, did you want to add anything? I know that you said something about Colombia, that they were talking about how to remain close, even with ministry and stuff.
Staying close. Staying close in I would even add to that, staying close even in proximity, and staying close at heart. If we stay close, if we stay separated for too long, even physically, that begins to create a rift. And I don't know, but I just felt a sense in my spirit to kind of throw it out there. There are some people, they chose their jobs or their financial well-being over their marriage, and their job is taking them away physically from their spouse for weeks at a time and months at a time. And it's and if you begin to see that it's hurting your relationship, you have to ask your question: what is more important to you? You know, living in a 5,000 square feet house, or your marriage. Now, look, good things are good, big things are good. You know, when the Lord's blessing is good, but what's the price?
Right.
You know, often times I see, you know, husbands out there slaving away, working long hours, on constantly on trips or being away for a long time. You know, it's hard to cultivate intimacy and love when you're not physically present there. I mean, thank God for technology now and FaceTime and all this stuff. And when I travel, I constantly, a couple times a day, call my wife, call my kids, trying to stay close. But you know, there's season and times for everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a season, honestly, kind of get out of financial debt, financial stress, this and that. And, you know, you have to take jobs and you have to work difficult hours and you have to go sometimes travel overseas or travel for extended period of time. But there's times where, you know, you already said the Lord has blessed you, and in this endless pursuit of more and more and more, bigger house, bigger car, better car, and all that stuff. And what is being sacrificed is marriage and family, but specifically marriage. Proximity, that's one thing that I want to add to that, is proximity is important. Don't be fooled that, oh, as long as we stay connected at heart. Yeah, that's important. But if you're not together for months at a time, you know, I'm not talking here about extreme situations where things are, you know, like, for example, the way if you're deployed as a military, or like my parents, when they grew up in former Soviet Union, and my dad would have to go overseas to make money to provide for the family because there's just no work inside the country. And he would be gone for 2-3 months at a time, come back, you know, take care of the home, take care of the things, and then would go again for 2-3 months. And there were times he would be gone, 4 or 5 months, sometimes even 6 months out of the year, not full 6 months, but come back. And so just that's something to keep in mind. Physical proximity, physical closeness, because if it's too much time apart, then we open room for temptation. We open room for just growing apart, growing cold towards each other. And so physical proximity is important. That's what I want to add.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to how we just talked about staying close is just, again, being intentional on staying close, making sure that if you have kids, 1 to 3 to 5 to 7, however many kids you have, or if you have a lot of responsibilities, that you are making time and effort to have date night.
Yeah.
And again, our situation in different seasons and circumstances, sometimes we stay in. We don't even go out to, to a restaurant. We sometimes cook in, watch a movie here. And the little kiddos, they're playing in their other room, but we're having that intentional conversation or having that tea time where we're talking. And that's considered date for us, because really it's that 20, 30 minutes that we're really connecting and talking and really seeing each other, not the things around us or what have you. So even if maybe you can't afford it or whatever, that you find your situation, get creative. And with kids, no kids, lacking finances, whatever
Ministry,
it may be,
work, whatever it is, you can
you can make it work. But the point is that you guys are both trying to make it work and putting aside some time for each other on a weekly basis.
Come on.
So the second one too, when it comes to staying intimate, is private.
Staying private.
Staying private, and
Especially nowadays in this day and age with social media and it
take
seems.
it away.
Yeah, let me start with
he
that.
He has a lot to say about that.
Couples in our church and people that I'm mentoring, we're mentoring, we're talking about. We encourage them to keep private things private. It's just too much stuff on social media right now, and sometimes. Let me just be honest here, okay? Like the more I see couples. The more I see couples on social media, the more I begin to worry, because usually it's a sign there's something is cracking on inside, so they're projecting outside as if everything good subconsciously. So I'm all for posting your spouse, your children. If you follow me outside of ministry, that's all that I do post, and so.
Golfing.
So what?
And golfing.
Yeah, when I go, which just happens like once in don't have time for that anymore. But what I'm saying is that keep things private. Keep things private. Let your best moments, your most passionate moments, let it be private.
Amen.
Sometimes I watch couples post kissing on kissing and smooching on Instagram and social media and stuff, but that's the only kissing that they do. You know what I mean? Come on now. And from the profile, you look at them, you think like, oh my gosh, these people are passionately in love. They're like, woo, but when then next thing you know, they come for marriage counseling and they're getting divorced. Why? Oh, we're not. There's no passion, there's no intimacy in those zones. Like, well, what? But your Instagram says like every post that you're intimate. So keep it private.
Yes, and private in the sense of conversations that you have too. He touched on the social media part, but I'm talking about also, when you're getting help or when you're not doing good, don't involve your in-laws. Don't involve other people that don't need to be involved, because that just causes drama, that causes a misunderstanding and then resentment to the spouse, when really they're there to support, to keep the marriage, not to listen to the drama that you're experiencing. If you need a mediator, your counsel and therapist, leave it to them, but don't involve people or say negative things about your spouse. Even if they did something negative, they fell somehow, some form, that's not necessary to tell or allow others to know. That's just
that kills intimacy right away.
That kills intimacy, trust between your spouse, to know that you went to their in-laws or to your parents or to your best friend, whatever. Be very mindful of that, and that you are breaking trust when you're doing that, and you're inviting drama into your relationship, which is so unnecessary.
Keep your relationships private. Only have people that actually can speak into your life, help you, correct, guide you, and lead you in that area.
Amen. And the last sub point to this point on staying intimate is remaining close. We talked about close. Staying personal. Personal means is, you're asking him or her, hey, how are you doing? And a lot of times we place a shell. No, I'm fine. Us women, we're like, when they ask, hey, are you okay? You're like, no, I'm fine. And
that means you're not fine. Exclamation mark.
Yeah. Or, the husband is trying to be strong for the family, and they don't want you to know that they're feeling a certain pressure or anything like that. So when I say stay personal and intimate, be like, hey, just keep me in prayer in this area. When you're struggling with temptation, or you fell, or you're having demonic attacks and dreams, and maybe you feel shame, or you're ashamed of what you're experiencing, resentment. There was a moment where, and I just want to share, is that I was holding on to this demonic attack that I was experiencing. I heard someone from ministry, what they had an issue with their child. They got really, really ill. And I have 3 little ones. And so because it's very dear and close to my heart, my children, when I heard their experience, it just really got to me emotionally. And I didn't even realize how much I allowed it to come into my heart and into my mind, that I kid you not, I started to get tormented. I was dreaming it. I couldn't go to bed or wake up without thinking that something bad is going to happen to my child, to my oldest child. And it was as if there was this movie playing in my mind. And so going from this entertainment of my mind where it felt like it consumed me, I started to feel really heavy. And this was going on for about 2 weeks approximately. And my husband just nudged me and he's like, are you okay? Is something going on with you? You're acting odd. And I just told him, I said, there's something going on with me. This is what happened. And I just felt ashamed because we're in the ministry of deliverance. We know all these things. I know all these things. And I didn't want to, and he's going, he's responsible for so many things. I didn't want to burden him or overwhelm him with my fear or what my attack was happening internally. I just didn't want to overwhelm him. But I told him. He prayed for me that very night. And it just felt like a ball of fire just hit me. And that the dreams, that heaviness, those thoughts left immediately. And I did that to myself for 2 weeks where, he's a man of God, he's ministering, and here I am like just kind of suffering because I didn't want it to be, burdensome for him. So remain personal. Don't carry like a shell being I'm a man, or I got this, or I'm strong, I can do this. I don't want to weaken, or I don't want to burden them. Don't do that. You're here for each other, to help one another, to be a team, to be personal. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, that if you're in temptation right now, and I really sense this as I'm saying this point specifically, if you're falling into temptation, be a safe place for one another. Don't run away from each other, but be a safe place where I want to be a safe place for my husband, and I want to be a safe place for him, and vice versa. That if he's going through something, that I'm not going to ridicule him, shame him, make him feel more guilty than he already does, but I'm there to be a helper and say, you know what, we're going to fight this together. Because we all know that we're not fighting our spouses, we're fighting a demonic entity that's behind our spouses, that are either tempting them, hovering over them, or causing this, fall, whatever they're going through. So be a safe place for them. So that's what I wanted to share with each and every one of you, that I'm just sensing, those that are viewing us right now, that if you're in temptation and you fear to go to your spouse, I want to give you the encouragement that, and if there's issues in your marriage, maybe this is what's causing the friction, the distance, and to break that separation and bring into that place of intimacy by breaking yourself, by exposing that, hey, you don't have to fight this temptation or issue alone. Your spouse is there to bless you and to encourage you.